We're live yet? We're live? Ah, yes, we're live. Sorry about that, good people. Hi, Jason with the Green Country Agroforester here. I'm running a little bit late. I was getting ready to sit down, and I had the lights on. I had the green screen set up and the background going, and everything looked great. And I sat down, I looked, and I realized the shirt that I had on had too much green right here, and it looked like I had a hole in the middle of my chest. So I had to go make a quick wardrobe change real fast before we got started. Hi! How's everybody doing out there? Let's see. Tonight we got Faith with us. We got Vicky with us. We've got Carolyn with us. All the good people are here. I'm having a little green tea with cinnamon, honey, and lemon, and a touch of cream. That's right. I splurged. I got real cream. Oh, see, there's Vicky saying, I hope Jason didn't forget about us. I didn't forget. I just had to change clothes. Oh, yeah. Carol is down in Georgia tonight. Yay. All righty. Good evening. Hi, everybody. A lot of people come in here and get settled. Tonight, we're going to talk about sharing dreams and envisioning the garden of the future. And I do this an awful lot. I like to think about what my garden is going to be like next week, next year, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. I've got long-term visions for what I want to accomplish. And it's really quite amazing what you can accomplish doing just a little tiny bit at a time, just constantly you don't have to put a lot of effort in, but constantly be putting positive effort into your project. And eventually you do get places. Take the scene behind me here for an example. Just 7 years ago, this scene behind me was a bare, flat lawn, nothing in it but grass, stickers, and Bermuda, and maybe some crabgrass and stuff like that, weeds. Nothing but. There was no trees, there was no flowers, there was no gazebo, there was nothing. It was just plain barren grass. And so by applying a small amount of effort consistently and diligently, eventually it turns into this thing that you see behind me now. But if I had told somebody, I have a dream of having a food forest in the front yard, it's going to be great, it's going to produce all kinds of food, it's going to be pretty, it's going to look like maybe a tropical rainforest, just a tiny little bit. It's going to have colorful plants and birds flying in and out. And people are going to look at it and go, wow, that looks great. And they'd seen that barren landscape of nothing but dead, dry grass and stickers. They would have said, oh, yeah, you're dreaming. Right? And people will say that too. You start sharing your dreams with them, especially if they're big and they're extravagant and you have no idea how you're going to accomplish them. They'll say, oh, you're just dreaming. You're never going to do any of that stuff. And it's very, very easy to listen to those people that say these things and go, yeah, they're probably right. I'm probably not going to accomplish these things. So I should stop dreaming about them. I should stop talking about them. I should start carrying on about how I want to see these things happen because I know that they're probably not going to happen. I don't know how I'm going to get there. And I think a lot of people do have their dreams just shut down by the detractors. And they could be well-meaning friends and family members that do this, thinking, well, I'm going to spare you the headache of all this excessive dreaming so you can focus on being practical in the here and now, right? Do the things that you can do. Don't dream about the stuff that you can't do. But there's a problem. And the problem is, quite often, whenever I'm trying to get from point A to point B, I may not be able to see the path from point A to point B very clearly. I may not know how I'm going to get from where I am now to where I want to be in the future. I may not be able to see that path. And there's a good possibility the first person I talk to and I share this dream or goal with may not know how to get there either. I might talk to 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20. How many people do you have to talk to before you come across the one that is going to hear your wild, crazy, extravagant dream and go, I actually know a way you can get there? How many people do you have to talk to? Is it 1,000? Is it 10,000? I don't know. It depends upon how wild, crazy, and extravagant your dream is and how uncommon the path needs to be to get to that vision that you have for the future, that dream that you have. So first off, don't be afraid to dream big. Dream huge. Dream massively. Dream beyond your capacity to do anything. Dream to the point of ludicrousness. Well, maybe not complete and total ludicrousness, but dream as big as you could possibly imagine, bigger if you could. Because whenever you take that dream and you go, okay, I've got this dream, this vision, this thing that I want to see happen, but I don't know how to get there. And I take that and I share it with somebody. What I'm doing I'm doing two things. The first thing I'm doing is reinforcing in my own mind, this is what I want to accomplish. So this is going to be building my own habits. I'm going to be reinforcing this idea in my head. I'm going to have a food forest. I'm going to have a plant nursery. I'm going to have a successful YouTube business. I'm going to sell and ship plants, and I'm going to get paid to garden. People will watch the gardening channel, and there'll be ads, and I get ad revenue from that, and I can actually have a living doing this sort of thing. This is kind of a huge dream, actually. And I have had people tell me, "Oh, you can't possibly do that. Nobody's going to pay to watch you grow a garden. Nobody's going to. You're not going to be able to make money shipping plants to different places. That's just silly. Nobody's going to pay for that." But well, little by little, piece by piece, bit by bit, we start selling more plants. People start watching more videos. It actually starts working. And so you don't listen to the people that say you will never accomplish your dreams. Just don't. Even if the dreams are extravagant. Because once again, the person that knows how to take your dream and make it a reality is a person that you need to share your dream with. And if you haven't shared your dream with that person yet, you need to keep on sharing because they're out there somewhere. And you might have to share your dream with 1,000 people. You might have to share it with 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. See, it's a lot easier nowadays to share your dreams with a large number of people because we have internet, we have massive communications. I can take an idea and I can throw it out there into the ether now. So I have this idea. It's not something I have the skills or ability to do anything with, but I can go and find the people that have the necessary skills and abilities and resources to do this thing that I just had the idea for. I'm going to go hand it to them and say, "Hey guys, I had this idea. I had this thought. What do you guys think of it?" And they can take and look at it and go, "Well, yeah, we could probably do something with this. I don't know why we didn't think of that before, but sure, why not?" That's the advantage here of sharing dreams. You can take the idea and give it to people who can make it a reality. Hickabilly LLC is asking what kind of tea I am drinking. I am drinking a green tea with cinnamon, honey, and cream. Cream, not creamer. It's real cream from real cows. So decadent. Probably could have used a little bit more honey. It's not very sweet. Anyway, what's Mary saying? I can tell you a million ways not to do it. I can also tell you how not to make a light bulb. Yeah. So Mary is Tulsa Fox. That's the missus. She's the person that quite often I share my extravagant dreams with, and she's kind of figured out eventually along the way that okay, not everything that I throw out there as a dream is something that we're necessarily going to do. But if I don't think about it and I don't express it, and I don't think about, okay, this is what I would like to see, or this is what I'd like to do, then I can't fit what is possible within the framework of what we're doing. So I have to talk about it. I have to bring out that dream, share it with her. And sometimes she'll play the negative Nelly and go, "Yeah, you're not ever going to do that." But quite often she's willing to go along and dream with me until it's time to be practical and get the bills paid. And then it's a question of, okay, so what can we put into our budget? And that's good. Your spouse is a person that you should share your dreams with. Whether you can physically accomplish them or not does not matter. It doesn't matter. Oh, shoot. We had a kitty cat incident here. Pardon me while I disappear. Hey, kitty. What are you doing? Huh? What's she doing, Ezra? Pardon me while we get this green screen reset here. What you doing, Ezra? Huh? I can see that we're going to have some more problems. There we go. I think that did it. Technical issues. Hi. We've got a monster kitty in here. Ezra, come here, kitty. Come here. Come meet the good people. He's shy now. It's okay. Come here. No, he doesn't want to come visit. Oh, here he comes. Hey, Ezra. Come hither, sir. No, don't go fiddle around on the back. Okay. He may climb up the back of the green screen again. Mary says she pays him extra to be obnoxious. All right. So let's get started here. Your spouse is the first person you should be sharing your dreams with. And it doesn't matter if you can accomplish them or not. That's not the point of sharing the dream. Yes, sometimes it can be something where your spouse will go, yeah, I think we can get this accomplished. But the main reason to share your dream with your spouse is not simply so that you can accomplish those dreams. It's so that you will be on the same page with what those dreams are, and you can share those dreams together. Very important. And it doesn't matter. Once again, it doesn't matter if you can actually accomplish the dreams or not. It's important to share them together. All right, moving onward. Family, friends, the rest of the world out there. Right, a giant thing just fell on his head, so he's a little bit skittish now. All right, so you have to share your dreams out there with the world, even if the people tell you that your dreams are crazy, it's never going to happen, give up on it. That doesn't matter, because until you share your dream with the person that can explain to you how to make it a reality, you haven't shared it enough yet. And that's the show. We did it all in 11 minutes. So how are you guys doing? Thought I might share with you a little bit about what I'm wanting to do with our garden area in the back, since you've had a little bit of a tour and we've taken the camera around and showed you a few things. I was talking with Mary about this earlier tonight, explaining that the gopher-proof beds are going to be temporary, and eventually we're going to need to remove them. At which point she said, "What? We're spending all this money on cement blocks, and we're going to remove them eventually?" I said, "Yeah, eventually we're not going to need them anymore, because all the other things that we're doing to get rid of gophers will catch up, and the gophers will be gone. We won't have to worry about the gophers anymore. So we'll have all these raised beds that we built for growing alliums in to keep the gophers out of, but we won't need them anymore because we've gotten rid of the gophers." And yeah, we don't actually have enough blocks, because aside from what we need to build the raised beds, I also want to build a retaining wall. And the retaining wall that I'm thinking of, Faith is thinking about changes for next year's garden. Yep, exactly. You have to think about these things ahead of time. Start dreaming about it ahead of time. And like I said, dream big, dream huge, dream beyond your capacity to accomplish anything. And then you take a look. This is the first step, is dream big. Step 2, share your dream. Step 3, take the negative feedback and put it over here and into the two columns of constructive and non-constructive. If it's constructive, then you can use that negative feedback. If it's non-constructive, then get rid of it. You don't need it. But some of the constructive feedback is, well, how are you going to accomplish blah 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 blah? Concerns about how you're going to get there. Okay, well, this is things that these are obstacles to overcome, right? Some of that feedback is obstacles to overcome. You put it on your list, and whenever you get to a point where you see how to overcome the obstacle, then that's another step closer to accomplishing your dream. Or this is something to think of whenever you're sharing your dream. You say, I want to accomplish blah 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 blah, but this is one of the obstacles. So while you're sharing, you can also share what the problem is, and that goes out there to the people who are listening to the dream and going, okay, yeah, I can see the vision, and I understand what the problem is. Wait a minute, I think I can help you with that problem. I can tell you how to fix that problem. Once again, you have to share it. If you don't, you're never going to encounter the person that can tell you how to overcome the problem. Faith is dreaming beyond her capacity to get rid of this crab and crowgrass. Trees. Lots and lots of trees. That seems to do it. Transform the soil, transform the landscape. When it stops being a grasslands ecosystem and becomes a forest ecosystem, those grasses won't want to grow there. And that's, it's time, effort, and small incremental amounts of effort accomplish a lot. Real quick here, I'm gonna show you some. Now, Gail is told you what about the homeless ministry? That was an impossible dream, or it's a dream that you should continue to share until you hit the until you reach the people that can help you make it reality. Ooh, got a store in town? That's nice. Making it into a farm stand. How far out of town are you? Winter's coming right away. And yeah, shade kills off grass. Not a whole lot of grasses are able to grow in a shady area. So if you have troublesome grasses, get it shady, and then start extracting the grasses. Plant other things for ground cover instead. Eventually, you won't have those grasses. So Gail says, okay. So following up, hang on a second. So Gail says, husband told her that about the homeless ministry that she started up, which we should probably share. So to share the dream of making it a nonprofit with my YouTube friends. Exactly. You take that dream that you have and you share it with people, and the people that can help you make it a reality will help you make it a reality. And the ones that can't help you make it a reality, if they're, if the only thing they say to you is good luck, well, I mean, that's encouragement. Good luck. If they say, well, I see a problem, and it's something that you can do something about, or you can put it into the column of things that we need to fix to make dream happen. You can put that in the column of things to fix. And if they say, well, it's just never going to happen, and they dismiss entirely, well, shove them off over the side. We don't need you anyway. Let me see. Yeah, winter is coming in winter in Minnesota. Oh, hey, I am ready for winter. Oddly enough, this is probably. I know. I say it often. Usually, the heat gets to me. I say, I'm tired of the heat. I'm ready for winter. This year, I'm ready for winter for entirely other reasons. I'm ready for winter to enjoy the winter season, as opposed to just a break from the heat, which is just unusual for me. Usually, I'm thinking in terms of it's hot and I'm ready for the hot to be over. I'm not so affected this year. I'm just looking forward to that slack period whenever I have spare time to do things. Hopefully it won't be too cold and I can do things. A lot of my outdoor excavation I like to do in the winter, except whenever it's ground frozen and there's a blizzard going on, and then I can't really dig and do things outside. Yeah, it's that time. Not much longer left. What is it, tomorrow? Is it tomorrow's the first? Is it tomorrow that's the first, or the next day? I don't know. Let me see here. I want to show you guys something. This is just a little clip from, what is this, day before yesterday, I think. Assassin beetle predation going on right there. That is a leaffoot bug being killed and eaten by an assassin beetle. That is just awesome. Let me see if I can get him into some light so you can see what's going on. So that is an assassin beetle. You see him? An assassin beetle devouring a leaffoot bug right there on the underside of this mulberry. All right, I'll let you get on about your business, sir. Thank you for your service. Ooh, that is a monster right there. All right. I didn't know what I was going to do with that clip. I wanted to put it somewhere. I wanted to show you guys, hey, look, I found one in the backyard. So these are these bugs I've been talking about. They come around when you plant lots of sunflowers, and they are one of the very few predators that we have that will kill and eat stink bugs and squash bugs and leaffoot bugs. And now they're just running around all over the place out there. They said, weren't you scared he was going to jump on your head? That same mulberry tree, I've seen about 3 other assassin bugs on, just running around taking care of pests for me. So we have a yard full of them now. Between the birds and the assassin beetles, ladybugs, spiders, lizards, frogs. It's dangerous to be a pest in my garden. Very, very dangerous. Are they bugs, not beetles? Yeah. I don't know if they're true beetles or not. Yeah, you might be calling me out on that one and making an assumption that wheel bugs may or may not be beetles. Let's check. Wheel bugs, are they beetles? Let me see. They're Heteroptera. So they're bugs, like bugs. I don't know what makes a beetle a beetle. Anyway, let's go off of that thing. Doing a little side research. Doing a little side research there. Hickabilly is asking if I get snakes. We always get snakes in the mulberry trees in Michigan. We do have some, but we have a lot of cats too. He says, no, but I have this box that has starred crazed weasels. Nah, we don't have any bear claws. All right. We have a few snakes around here. It's river bottom, so we're not too far away from grounds where you can find water moccasins and water snakes. Very, very occasionally in the wooded areas nearby, you might run across a copperhead. But mostly what shows up in our yard are garter snakes, and we get some rat snakes occasionally, king snake now and then. The one that you saw a brief clip of me dispatching in the food forest tour was a rat snake, and the only reason I was getting rid of it was because that particular rat snake had a bad habit of going and eating duck eggs. Ordinarily I wouldn't mind. It's rat snakes eat rats mainly, and other rodents, and Lord knows we need that. But that was a good enough size rat snake that he could have been out there going after gophers and mice and other rodents, and he wasn't. He was going after duck eggs, so he had to go. He'd already had 2 warnings. I'd already taken and escorted him out before, so this is third time. Third time you don't get that. You don't get a relocation. You get a smack in the head. Yeah. Because although the ducks do make more eggs than I can eat, I do want to get enough of them to eat. Isn't that the weirdest thing? You get enough of something that you have a guaranteed supply, or that you're always going to have enough of whatever that thing is, and you're going to wind up with too much. You're going to have a surplus. If it's just a few too many, then maybe you can store them, maybe you can give them away, or ultimately you might just have to recycle whatever your surplus of things are back into your gardening projects. But the best way, seemingly, is to make a very, very large surplus and sell your surplus and go into commerce or trade. I guess that's why farming has become a commercial enterprise. So many things it's easier to grow too many of them than just enough. Because if I do my garden planning trying to get just enough, then this one's going to be short of expectations. This thing's going to be short of expectations. This thing over here is going to be short of expectations. And if everything that I'm planning is short of expectations, and I was just planning to have enough, well, now I don't have enough. So I have to plan to produce more than I need. Maybe not a whole lot more, but somewhat more than I need. So this one, if it's not quite as much as I planned, it still meets expectations, and so on and so forth. But if I have a good year, I've got way too much. What do I do with all of it? I don't know. I think having a local market or exchange for people to swap their backyard produce might be a good thing. Maybe like Vicky is doing with the farm stand in town. That's a pretty good thing. I know Granddad started out his particular produce business growing tomatoes and cucumbers and cabbages and onions and corn and all the good stuff that you expect to find at a produce market. He was growing all of his own and sending truckloads of produce out across the country, mainly to grocery stores. That guy from Bentonville, Arkansas had a grocery chain that he was starting up, and Grandpa sold produce to him. But eventually, he and his brother Chester started buying up produce from other farmers, and they bought up the produce to sell at their produce market. So they had the produce that they grew, and they sold that at the produce market. You know, imagine a farmer's market. You only have one farmer at the farmer's market. Well, that's what the Conrad Farms Produce Market was. It was a farmer's market with just one farmer represented. But they would buy up produce from other farmers that didn't have enough to open up their own market. You know, the people that had, okay, I grew a little bit more than I needed. What do I do with it? Well, you could sell it. And so they did. My granddad would buy their produce from them and then resell that produce. Eventually, he started buying shiploads of produce from South America and other places to bring in. So you had pineapples there, you had coconuts there, you had bananas there. So Conrad Farms Produce Market had produce from all over the world in it. And there were two major produce markets in Bixby, Oklahoma for a while there. There was the Carmichael's produce stand, and then there was Conrad's. Eventually, Chester took over the business. Granddad retired and went fishing. That's what he wanted to do anyway. He never really did want to be a farmer. Farming as a way to get money. He wanted to grow a few vegetables and go fishing. That's what he wanted to do. So that's what he did. He retired and he went fishing. He went fishing for about 20 or 30 years before he finally died. Having the time of his life, I guess. Maybe it wasn't 30, more closer to 20. Anyway, Chester kept on going with the produce market. But eventually, it was time to pass it on to his kids. They didn't want to do the farming business. And so now it's just Carmichael's. Just Carmichael's. But let that be a lesson to you. If you can't get there, share your dream. Somebody out there can help you get there. And it could be that the way you get there is doing an aggregation. Buy up produce from the other farms and you sell it in one location. Anyway, I'm looking over at chat. Oh my goodness. Mary is talking about how to go to the bathroom in a truck. Okay, yeah, we probably don't need to share that bit. Good evening, Sassafras. All right, I'm going to move on to the part where I'm going to talk about, first off, a couple of dreams I have. Probably share three dreams with you tonight. I hold up four fingers. I'm just going to share three dreams. One is the dream for where we're at right now, this particular property that we're on, 3rd acre, 2 houses, garage, a couple outbuildings. Another one is for possibly the garden of the future that's not here. And then third, of course, is for the entire world, which is yet another garden. All right. Ooh. I like that idea, Vicky. There are a few places where you can get fresh nut oils like that. They're kind of rare. They're kind of expensive. So, I mean, if you've got lots of nuts and the ability to manufacture the oil, do it. Anyway, Hmm. So this particular piece of river bottom property, currently it sits about 2 foot taller than everything else around it. That's because we put up a retaining wall, or I did, a few years back, and we've been dedicated. I've been working very, very devotedly. What's the word I'm looking for here? Very diligently. That's the word. It's a D word. Very diligently on soil building in the front yard, particularly, and the front yard where we have the retaining wall around there has built up very well. I've got a smaller wall on the north side, on the opposite side of the driveway, and it's really just a row of logs. And the soil buildup has been maybe 3 inches or so there, 2.5 to 3 inches, not a whole lot. Eventually, we're going to need to put blocks there too. I'm putting it off because I want to get the property line surveyed before I build a wall, just to be on the safe side, because I'm not entirely certain where the property line is supposed to be. We have an idea where it is, but I don't want to go to all the effort of building that wall and then discover I've got it in the wrong space later on. So that's something we have to. It's just an obstacle to be overcome before I can get to that point of building the wall on that side. Also, the blocks that I'll need to build that wall with need to be the better quality ornamental blocks, because that's an area the public gets to see. And the retaining wall on the back side of the property, which I want to build up eventually, those, they can be lower quality. They can be salvaged blocks, and we've got a bunch of blocks that we can salvage from the garage. So here's the thinking. Right now we're building raised beds. I'm ordering up cement blocks. It cost me like $500 to have 100 blocks brought in, dropped off at the house. There was some topsoil I had, the Miracle-Gro garden soil. I wanted to have a little bit of that because I know that the earth I'm going to be filling the raised beds with is not that great. So probably the top 4 inches or so is just going to be Miracle-Gro. A little cheating, but yeah, it'll let me get somewhere a lot quicker than I could if I was just trying to build the soil inside the beds. And I want to be able to produce garlic out of them by next year. So the raised beds are to keep the gophers out. They have the hardware cloth underneath them. Gophers can't come up underneath to get my garlic or my onions. We're building these out. But once the gophers are gone, probably in about 5 years or so, maybe less, then we won't need these raised beds anymore. So I've got superfluous blocks, except I can use those to build a retaining wall on the north and west side of the property. And I'm thinking about building it 3.5 foot wide. So, well, actually, it's not going to be 3.5 foot wide. It's going to be 3.5 foot on the inside. It's just essentially, it's going to be a bigger raised bed, but we move it out to the very edge of the property. So it's right there on the fence line. We build it with, let's see, it's just going to be 8 inches on here. So 16 inches plus 3 foot 4 inches. So it's 3 foot 20 inches, 4 foot 8 inches, just short of 5 foot wide. The way the blocks are designed, you have to go by 8-inch increments and 16-inch increments, because they're 8 inches by 8 inches by 16 inches. So we'll have a grand total of a close to 5 foot wide wall. The inside of it is a 3 foot 4 inch raised bed area, going up to right around 5 feet off of ground level. So we'll have a retaining wall that comes up to right around my chest if I'm standing on ground level. On the top of this retaining wall, and this is going to run all across the north side of the property and all across the west side of the property. So it'll make this big sort of like L bracket, right? All across there, we want to plant all of our prickly things on the top of that retaining wall. So we'll be planting flowering quince. We'll be planting black locust. We'll plant prickly ash. We'll plant goji berry. All the sharp, thorny things. The idea here is, instead of having a fence, there's a fence there now. It's a chain link fence. Instead of having a fence there, we'll have a wall. Now, people can climb over walls just the same as they can climb over fences. But if you're climbing over this wall, you'll be eyeballs into all the thorny plants that I can imagine planted across the top of this wall. So yeah, better than glass top walls. Faith was saying it's like they do in Mexico, where they put the broken glass on the top of walls to keep people from climbing out. It's better than glass. These are sharp, thorny plants, but they're not just sharp, thorny plants. They're sharp, thorny plants with a purpose. So the black locust that provides me with nitrogen fixing for all the other plants that are up there in that limited ecosystem. 3 foot 4 inches wide, not a whole lot of soil here in a retaining wall. But the locust also is a source of food for the pollinators. So lots of bees get to eat locust flower, the nectar out of locust flowers. And also we've got flowering quince. That's a source of vitamin C for me. Small flowering shrub, grows in the shade. So really on the north side of the property would be where we want to have that, particularly whenever we go behind where the greenhouse will eventually be. We get to the greenhouse in a minute. So eventually I'll have a greenhouse on the north side of the property, and this place will be behind it. It should be fairly shady there. So having something that can handle the shade, like a flowering quince, that'd be great. All right. We have that for vitamin C, understory shrub. Goji berries, obviously goji berries are great. I've found out with goji berries that you don't want to eat them when they're fresh and bright red or orange. You want to wait until winter, until the bush is done, and you gather up all those berries, and they're starting to shrivel up and turn into little raisins. Let them turn into raisins. Just let them turn into raisins. Don't eat them fresh. Once they shrivel up and they've turned into little itty bitty raisins, that's when they're good. That's when they're sweet. They're not really sweet before that. They're a little bit too tart. But once they've turned into raisins and are essentially preserved, that's when they're good to eat. So you go around and you pick those. Of course, prickly ash is a great one because it produces these small little fruits, like little peppercorns, and you can use them like a Szechuan pepper. My recipe for them is to take them, put them in the mortar and pestle with a little bit of mustard seed and a little bit of cayenne pepper and grind it up. And whenever you use that as a seasoning, it tastes like you're using black pepper, even though black pepper doesn't grow here. So you can use that as a substitute for black pepper. If you wanted to be able to find a sustainable way to provide your seasonings, look for plants that you can grow that you can use for seasonings. Barry wants to talk about all these plants and say the bad things about them. I'll tell you what, marijuana stinks. Black locust is evil. It has reach. It will reach out and catch you. It really will. It's a great defensive plant. Very good. Very, very good. Vicky saying marijuana is more commonly used as an incense around here. Oh, my goodness. Like an incense. Oh, that's funny. I like sandalwood, cedar, frankincense, myrrh, just nice earthy scents. They the same. Valerian smells like cat pee. It does have a funk to it. I had some valerian root powder. I don't know how old it was. I got it from Bouncing Bear Botanicals. This was back in, Mary, do you recall how long ago that was? Like 2000, maybe 2006, possibly 2006, 2000. Yeah, somewhere around 2006. Hang on a second. I'll get you in a second there. But we're working on this one. I got this valerian root powder, and at the time I was working on an herbal recipe. Might have been before that. Might have been a little bit before that. I was working on an herbal recipe with the intention of being able to take a person that was. Here's the thought: you're working, you're going constantly, you're doing 14-hour days, you're in management. They have you on salary, which essentially means they can use you like a slave and make you do overtime but not pay you for it. You're running your backside off, but you need to get good quality sleep. How do you do it? Because you're living on adrenaline and coffee right now. You're probably drinking coffee with both hands, and then you're not getting good sleep. So there's got to be something for this, and there's got to be something you can take that's herbal, not hardcore narcotics, not heavy duty pharmacopoeia. Let's try just something gentle. So I got valerian. But I also got an herb from Mexico, from down there near Oaxaca, called they're calling Aztec dream herb. or the binomial was Kalea Zakata Chichi, and it's perfectly legal stuff here. It's not a controlled substance, but this particular plant, ethnobotanically, was used by the natives to achieve visions. And the way it was used was you brewed a tea with it, and then you rolled some of the leaves up into a cigarette. You smoked the cigarette, drank the tea, and then went to sleep. And whenever you go into sleep, you're supposed to have very vivid, potent dreams, receive visions from the great spirits, stuff like that. They're not coming to get me. I don't know if you can hear those sirens or not. They're going down that way, down by the river. There's a low income housing project over there. Anyway, where were we at? All right, so they would smoke a cigarette out of the leaves. They would drink the tea using the leaves, and then lay down and go to sleep. And they would have very, very potent dreams, lucid dreams, the kind that you could say these are visions, right? Chemically speaking, the thing will put you into a hypnagogic state. Essentially, you become very suggestive. I thought this was interesting because if you could get a person into a suggestive state with an herb that can't necessarily be hypnotized because they're too, I don't know, neurotic, too wound up to go for traditional hypnotherapy, that might be a good way to get in there, to get them into that suggestive state so you can do the necessary therapy work. But also when you combine it with valerian, slowly getting back around to the idea, I combined it with valerian so that the valerian would help you calm down so that you could go to sleep. The Kalea would cause your sleep to slip you directly into REM state. So you're in dreaming mode. Because whenever you're in dreaming mode, when you're in REM state, that's actually when you get the most benefit of sleep. So somebody that doesn't have a whole lot of time for it would be able to take this compound with valerian and Kalea in it, go take a nap, and even though they may not necessarily be able to get more than just an hour or two's worth of sleep, since they hit REM sleep almost immediately using this combination of ethnobotanicals, they actually would get a decent night's sleep out. We tried it out, works great, but I had some difficulty growing Kalea myself because we're in Zone 7A and it's a tropical plant. I might try it again at some other time in the future because the potential for this particular herbal concoction for people that really do need to get good quality sleep, it's pretty spectacular. Pretty spectacular. All right, we're gonna move on to what Hickabilly was saying. Hang on. People that were around here smelled it, said it smelled like somebody's backside. Actually, it did. But the taste of the tea was fine. It has a funky smell, but it tastes good. All right, so Hickabilly is saying, do I have a worm farm? I have a worm bin, but not necessarily a worm farm. My worm farm is more open air than anything. We've got enough organic matter built up. We have enough shade from the trees built up now that I can take all of my weeds, pile them up in the pile, just sort of cover them up and moisten them. And the worms will come in and they'll do their business. And after a while, I take the cover off and then I can rake the worm castings out through the area. So essentially, I put the worm farm in the area where I'm going to want the worm castings later on. And then a couple months later, after all the organic matter is being consumed by the native worm population, I just go ahead and remove the cover, rake out the worm castings, and it's done. But I do keep a small bin under the carport. So the question about potato skins, yes, you can. You can feed just about anything organic to your worms. Just remember they don't have really big mouths. So if it's something big and bulky, you want to decompose it first, like partially decompose it first, or you can take things that are large and put them into a blender. And I keep a blender in the garage just for this purpose. It's for putting old nasty stuff in. You put it into the blender, pulse it a few times, add water if you need to, and then pour that slurry or sludge that you get out of that in there to feed your worms. And that way they can start eating it almost immediately. They don't have to wait for it to fully decompose before they can begin to work on it. I hope that helps. Yeah, you can feed them potato skins. Valerian capsules smell like you're eating cat litter. Yeah, I think it probably does smell a bit more like cat litter than anything. Give me just a moment here. I'm going to go turn on my air conditioner. I thought I could make do without it, but I was wrong. Oh no, you heard me say it. I was wrong. Oh, that feels so nice. Oh, yes, this is cool air right here. Okay, that's better. Whew. I'll tell you what, this particular tea combination too, it really cranks up the body temperature. So let's see. Thermometer on the wall says it's only like 70, 76, 77, somewhere around there. But I'm breaking a sweat. All right. Mary saying she's thinking that was during the first Biden administration. It was before. It was before then because that was 2008. Was whenever he was elected. It was before 2008. Whiskey before valerian. Whiskey dehydrates you, though. I mean, yeah, it'll knock you out if you drink enough of it, but you may not enjoy the experience. I think it's better not to get dehydrated. Oh, cool. So you've actually tried Kalea, huh? It's good to know I'm not the only crazy person that likes weird herbs. But it doesn't get you high. It's not like cannabis where it has the THC tetrahydrocannabinol in it that causes you to get jittery, paranoid, or whatever it is. Kalea doesn't do that. It just puts you into that sort of hypnagogic state where it's very, very easy to dream, very easy to sleep. And if you stay conscious while you're taking Kalea and talking to somebody, working through your problems, it seems to actually work fairly well for that too. So its usefulness as a therapy medication should be investigated more, I think. But being a natural product, it can't be patented. So, yeah, go figure. FDA rules for herbs are weird. All right. Wild chamomile to help go to sleep. I don't have any chamomile at the moment. I might get some. That might need to go into my pharmacopoeia. It should be easy to grow. Neighbor grew a little bit of it last year. No, not last year. Was it? Yeah, it was last year. The years have a tendency to run together. He was growing it last year. Didn't have a whole lot of success with it, mainly because the place where he had it was just getting too much shade. No, it wasn't last year. It was year before last. The reason it was getting too much shade was because of the sycamore tree that was in our yard. So it was casting shade on the spot where he was growing his chamomile. That's right. We removed it. And then last year, I went over there to see if he was planning on growing it again. He hadn't planted it anymore because it did so poorly. So we'll try it again because the landscape has changed now. You might give it a shot. In any case, that lets me know that it's going to grow in this area. I just need to plant some. See, that I've tried valerian. It kind of sort of grows, but not really great. I could try it again. But besides valerian, there are a couple other drugs. I'm saying drugs. There's a couple other herbs that you can grow that accomplish the same end. And really, some of these are they're the beginnings of pharmacology here. Alternatives for flaring. I didn't draw the blank here. American water lily would be a good substitute, or as the odorata. The species of water lily is odorata, the American water lily. The other one is passiflora, and here we can go Passiflora incarnata. I wound up picking up some seeds for Passiflora Sorelia, which doesn't really grow here. It grows in zone 8. I don't know why they were selling them at our local ranch supply store whenever this is really a zone 8 perennial. But I got some. Maybe they'll grow, maybe they won't. Wendy over at Hard Access, she's got some, and Vicky is overrun with passion flower in the Ozarks there. So one way or another, we're going to wind up with some passion flowers growing here, and that's good because for an anti-anxiety or anti-spasmodic medication, one that tastes like a tasty fruit that people would want to eat anyway, really does it for me, as opposed to something that smells like it came out of a kitty litter box, even though it doesn't taste that bad, or water lilies. I want to use. I do want to grow a couple just because they're pretty and they add more diversity of life to your aquatic regions. But I've got other things I want to grow in my aquatic gardens than just water lilies. I just suggested myself into more tea. Maybe. I did too. When I was younger, and I still have very, 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 very. All my dreams are very vivid. They're full sensory experiences, yes, including pain. Sometimes that's not fun, especially whenever you don't wake up. You just keep on experiencing that. But once I began learning how to interact with the dream landscape, know that I was dreaming, and take control of dreams, it no longer became a problem. But when I was young, they terrified me. That's pretty cool that you tried out Kalea. Yeah, Maypops, that's Passiflora incarnata. And hibiscus, different kinds of hibiscus. I've been trying to grow some Rose of Sharon, but I'm having some difficulty getting one to take. I've planted 3 so far. We're on number 3 right now, and it's looking like it's not making it. The leaves are shriveling up. I've been watering it. It might just be. Might just be not wanting to grow here. Sometimes that's the case. They just don't want to grow. All right. Ooh, that's rough on your health. Very rough. So you're actually still growing it. That's cool. That's very cool. Yeah, fall asleep when you're meditating. Yeah, that happens to me quite often. I'll lay back and I'll just be working on something and just let my mind wander, and then before I know it, I'm asleep. And I wake up and go, "Oh shoot! I was planning on fixing the world's problems, and now I have to start all over again." Are you sure this is a 100-year-old house? It might be. No, not quite. It was built what in the 1940s, so like an 80-year-old house. Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. Anytime I run across some odd plant, it's like, would that grow here? I'm going to try to grow it here. And even if it won't, you never know until you try. Take that, those Louisiana cannas, right? This is zone 10 perennial. They're growing here just fine. It's like nobody bothered to check and see if they grow here. Well, they do. Um, I think he told me it's probably microclimate. It's the reason why it survives. Yeah, right about that time, I also was trying to grow some Ephedra viridian, which is a plant that grows a little further to the west here. Its natural range is out there in Utah, Nevada. Nevada for the Nevadans. Uh, it's it's North America's version of mahong. Mahong is Ephedra sinensis. Ephedra, of course, is the series of the species, not species, the genus of joint ferns that produce ephedrine, which is the chemical compound that whenever you ingest it causes your body to produce epinephrine and norepinephrine and makes you kind of hyper. They make a synthetic version of it called pseudoephedrine, which goes into cold medication, which was being abused by people and being used to not to make methamphetamine, but to cut methamphetamine. And some people are just selling the pseudoephedrine alone as a drug. And since this was being abused, they started shutting it down. So, no, you're not allowed to have the pseudoephedrine. We're not going to let you produce this and sell it over the counter, which is unfortunate because the plant itself was fine. Very, very hard to overdose on the plant itself. You could theoretically, if you were to extract the ephedrine out of Ephedra viridian or Ephedra sinensis and concentrate it, you could get enough of it together to harm yourself. But if you're just using it in the typical traditional way, which is to make a tea and sip the tea, it does a better job of getting you alert and staying and keeping alert than coffee does. And very, very hard to overdose on. You would make yourself sick before you overdosed. It's kind of like making a tea out of poppies, incidentally. If you're familiar with the thing that Papaver somniferum is used for, the gummy resin that comes from that seed pod, where you score it whenever the flowers are done, and you just have the seed pod there, and the seeds aren't mature yet. You take a razor blade and you score it. You don't pull up the plant; you let it sit there. They water it too, and then the plant will pump the latex through the slits, and you can scrape that off and collect it. People take that and they dry it, and some people smoke it, and there are a few other refining processes people do to make it an injectable narcotic. But if you pick the flowers when they're fresh, and you can dry them, and you make a tea with the flowers, there are other chemical compounds that are in the living plant that if you consume them together will prevent you from overdosing. You'll get sick before you overdose. You'll be able to drink some of the tea. Oh, this is a pain relieving herb. It kind of like takes the pain and it moves us over here to the side. You're kind of aware that it exists, except it's just not here in your face bothering you right now. It's like, oh, okay, I've got some broken ribs and yeah, I understand. I should probably not get too excited and move around a lot, but it's not bothering me right now. That's kind of what opioids do. Well, that's what they do for me. But there's another compound that occurs in the poppy flower that will give you a splitting headache if you consume too much of it. And the opioid doesn't matter. So if you were taking this as a whole herb, the way really you should be, if you're using this for pain relief, the built-in other effects of the poppy flower should prevent you from overdosing or even getting to the point where you'd want to abuse it as a drug. It's just the taking of that alkaloid compound, refining it, and making specifically a drug out of it is where you run into the danger. And yeah, I don't have an argument with you there. I mean, it's disturbing, but the FDA regulations on herbs are ridiculous. You can't patent an herbal product. Um, you can't make claims about an herbal product as a medication the same way that you can make claims about a pharmacological product as a medication, which is grossly unfair considering that a lot of pharmacological products started out as herbs in the first place. That they just wanted to figure out, well, how do we isolate just this portion? We want to have just this portion. I want to have just the portion of the poppy plant that makes you go, ugh, and not the portion of it that makes you go, ooh, I shouldn't have taken that much. Huh? Well, nature built in something to stop you from ODing. But Big Pharma wants to just isolate that one chemical and go, let's use that. Well, you isolate that, you just use that, then you get problems and abuses. The natural product didn't have that problem. Woohoo! Got all the nice ethnobotanicals. Just rub it in, why don't you? Right? I probably have some growing around here. I need to walk around and have a look. I might have. Okay, let's change that from probably to might. I might have some growing because Mary and I took a trip up to Turkey Mountain, the nature preserve, a couple of years ago. Um, Went back to where we found the maypops growing. I gathered a few seed pods, started opening them up, found the seeds, brought them home, stratified them, had them in cells, sitting outside. And then a windstorm came, grabbed the trays, the 1020 trays that those cells were in, and threw them just everywhere. And so somewhere on the south side of the driveway, scattered along amongst the strawberries and the one blueberry bush that I've got left over there, scattered over there, there may be some maypop vines trying to grow. Yep. I don't know who decided every plant that puts you in a different state is always said to be like cannabis. They most are not like, yeah, that was my experience with Colea. It was like, okay, there's part of it that is somewhat similar to cannabis in that it does put you into a very mellow and suggestive state. So, sort of like CBD, the CBD portion of cannabis. If you were to take cannabis and take out all the stuff that makes you high and go, here you go, bump, like, or whatever, however you consume it, is like, why do I want this thing? It doesn't get me high. Well, it's because of the medicinal properties. It's going to help you get a good night's sleep, to be able to relax. Well, what do I want that? Hops I liked. Hops is good. You don't get high on it, but it's good for pain relief. Cat gardeners. Yeah, they like to, whenever they find a pot full of dirt, they want to roll around in it. Oh no, not allergic to hops. I've tried growing hops. I'll probably try it again. When the first time we tried, they got the hop rhizomes. It wasn't great timing getting them in, and we tried growing them on the south side of the house, and we get a lot of rain. The soil down there, because we didn't have a retaining wall over there yet. We still don't. Um, but whenever the soil got wet, it got too wet. Whenever it got dry, it got too dry. It was kind of one of those situations. And it got wet, it rotted, dried out, died off. And that was my one and only attempt at growing hops. We'll try it again most likely before it's all over. Because I do like hops for pain relief. For a mild pain relief herb, you take a tincture of hops. I mean, this is one of the reasons why beer actually works really good. It's because of the hops. I could take beer that's 5 or 6% alcohol if it's an IPA that has lots of extra hops added to it. Works great for pain relief, far better than alcohol alone would do. So I'm thinking let's remove the barley malt portion, the extra calories that are in beer. Let's just make an alcohol tincture of hops. Maybe that would be better for pain relief than beers. It'd certainly be better for me here. I mean, that's part of the reason why I'm drinking tea at this time of the night and breaking a sweat. Yeah, mahong is good stuff. Hey, there's David the Good. Da-da-da. I'm just going to scroll through chat real quick, get down to the bottom of it real quick, so I can talk to you guys. Okay, really, it's just so I can talk to David. Me too. I'm getting ready to go to bed. I've been on here for about an hour. What day is today? Wednesday. You'll probably be getting something in your PO box by tomorrow, I think. Probably. Yeah, should be tomorrow. Yeah, Vicky's saying tincture of hospital been used for a long time. No, I would imagine so. Should work. If I ever get around to growing hops again and actually get them to grow, that's probably how I'll prepare them. Is in a tincture, because I'm not interested in having beer anymore. I like it. It just doesn't like me. It goes straight to my middle, and it makes it hard to get around and do stuff in the garden. You don't want to be too heavy in the garden. No. No, what's estrogenic? The hops? Is that the reason why? Is that the reason why we get the? See, I thought it was because of the. I thought it was because of the barley malt that put that on there. That's good to know. So there's more than one reason to avoid the beer then. I'll just stick to mojitos. If Mary doesn't drink all my rum. So anyway, let me just recap real quick before you call it a night. The reason why it is important to share your dreams, first and foremost, first and foremost, first and foremost, with your spouse, with your partners, with the people that you live with, is so that you can be on the same page and you can dream together. Doesn't matter if you can actually accomplish those dreams physically at the moment, the two of you, or however many is in the family unit. That does not matter, because when you share your dreams, you reinforce your habits in your mind, what it is you want to accomplish. You're thinking about it. You put your mind to it whenever the opportunities present themselves, because you have your mind trained to look for these things. You will see those opportunities and be able to do the next step, which is act upon your dreams. Success belongs to people who execute. So dream big, dream huge, dream beyond your capacity to fulfill those dreams yourself. Share your dreams so the person that knows how to accomplish those dreams can hear them and say, oh, I know what you need to get to where you're going. If you don't share it, the person who can help you doesn't know that you need that help to get there. So dream bigger than you accomplish, share the dream, and then begin putting dream into action. It doesn't matter if you can't accomplish everything all at once. Most of the time you can't. Small effort, if that's all you can do, that's all you do. Consistently applied small effort accomplishes a lot. Look behind me. 7 years ago, bare lot. Now, food forest. So that's all I wanted to share with you tonight, guys. Thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you found the video informative or entertaining. If you did, you know what to do. I'll catch you next time. Until then, get out there, get growing.